guys, this is one of the most important things we can be doing in all this. And this is for legislation. This is for operations. This is for our survivability moving forward into this space at a good pace is for us to be working together. So like if we don't work together, none of us make this happen. So if you guys have your neighbors that you're not seeing showing up on these trainings, please get this out to them. If you see them not showing up on the working groups, please call them up and say, "Hey guys, we got working group. Let's not forget it." Just so we can all communicate. If nothing more, is if we just all communicate, we get to know each other. That is the power of our community. It's what we're really good at doing. And I want to make that shout out here. So we just kind of keep building this. Today we're going to be working off of fire service operations. And when I say fire service operations, it's kind of like I'm guessing you guys on the LE side probably. I get the same feeling when I hear law enforcement operations. Oh man, that's not me. It is. It's public safety operations. It's all of us working together. It's all of us helping one another out. I'm hoping that in this next hour that we just discuss some of the ways that if you're not dragging a hose line, that you can help out the team, right? And if you are dragging a hose line, you haven't thought about some of these things, how maybe you can conduct your operations in a way that's a little bit better for your program. So I think cool. Yeah, Mike just said he does a lot of Overwatch for the fire guys. So I mean that's what we're really talking about, and that's how we win here with our city managers. It's how we win with our county commissioners. Is we know that we are building public safety aviation programs, not drone programs, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, do not use that word anymore, drone programs. You're building a public safety aviation program. And by putting that public safety aviation program in place, it takes money. It takes time. So make sure that we're doing this collectively, just like you homies have just thrown out there for us. This is going to be open mics throughout this training. It's the way I like to run it. Also have both Dave and Ramon watching the chat, so they're going to be piping in if somebody's got something you guys want me to stop. Again, just either throw it in the chat or just go open mic on this. That's really the way we want to conduct this training today. All right, Ramon and Dave, can you guys see? Do I have my slide up?
We got you up.
Cool, my guys, I appreciate that. All right, fire service operations and advance. Here we go. This is a fun one. I know what you guys are thinking. It's us against you and you against us. And it could not be any further from the truth, right? This is the one of the best parts of our jobs, I think, is I have my sisters and brothers wearing blue, or EMS wearing white, or emergency managers. Like, we get to bang on each other, but at the end of the day, we're all working together. And again, this is something that I love. I love being able to say that all of us are bound together by these stupid pieces of plastic in the sky. So it doesn't matter if you're the dude in the upper left, the dude in the lower left, or the two groups, the emergency managers and EMS on the right. This is what is. These stupid pieces of plastic are what bring us together. The data that we pull out of this, as you guys know, gets distributed to everybody that needs it. And that's something, again, I know you guys get this. I'm just throwing this out as a reminder for your public safety aviation programs, is this is what you got to communicate back to the people that hold the purse strings, is that we all work together. Everybody needs what comes out of that drone. So we're going to do a little high-level overview of fire service operations. We're going to talk about some of the tools that we have, and I'm hoping that we're going to have a little time for some questions and answers. But again, if we can get this discussion going during the meeting or during this training, I'd love to go into that. This is something I'm really proud of. I don't know that everybody's aware of with our audience right now. Is the fire service has a representative group through the International Association of Firefighters and International Association of Fire Chiefs. Just the IFF, guys, represents 352,000 members across North America. That's a big swath. That means that LEDA, which is crushing it on the LE side, or drone responders that's working to pull us all together. This means that we have another organization that represents us that we can move forward to help others with. We're pretty involved. We've actually established the first national standard through an FPA 2400. If any of you guys have read it, it needs to be revised, and we're working on that. But it was our first national standard. We work directly with NIST. We tied in directly with ACERS, with NASA, and we're the folks that you see on the interagency side for all the large wildfires happening in our throughout North America. Well, specifically the U.S. That is our interagency unmanned aircraft group. So we have a pretty big place in public safety, and we need it to grow closer together. Now, when we're talking about the fire service specifically, these are some of I'm sure a lot of you guys know this already. These are some of the areas that we can call them fire service or para-fire service related, right? This is stuff that we get down on a regular basis. We're going to go into each one of those slides and talk a little bit about them. But before I go any further, I just want to say that when we're talking about, go ahead. Oh, when we're talking about these task level assignments or these tactics that we're rolling into, and we're talking about a public safety aviation program and building that out, just keep this slide in mind. This is no different than any other tool that you have in one of your roll-ups, right? On the side of the truck, or anything you have in your patrol vehicles. This is the same. It's just a tool that we are repurposing for our purposes. And it is, so when we're talking about program management, we're talking about building out anything as far as tactics go, just think of it the same way as any other tool that we have. Do not try to recreate something and make it completely different than your organization is used to working with. So when we're thinking about structural firefighting, these are some of the areas that we have. We have high rise on the left, right? Our drones can get up higher than any of our buildings. We can coordinate aerial operations really well. If you're looking at the tower crane, kind of in the center of the building, that is a shot from FDNY. And you guys can see that the fire stream that is coming across to put out that fire that was on that top of that tower crane as the crane dropped into Manhattan. That was one of the FDNY jobs that they had. We are able to get around to that Charlie side of the structure. So if you guys I know you guys are using 1, 2, 3, 4 sides of buildings, or for us, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta sides of the structure, we can get around to the backside of these structures faster than anybody else, and we can stay out of that plume of smoke. So that is a great use case for us. If you haven't done this for your fire department, and I saw a couple of you guys pipe up earlier, please do it this way. Ramon.
Sorry, hit that wrong.
Cool, man.
Keep rocking.
All right. So if you guys are looking at these aerial operations, right? So getting over a large structure, if you are, and I love this one up in the upper left-hand side. I think this was Irving. PD is down at the bottom in their patrol vehicle. They got 2 aerials up. Both Ramon and I have been up in those aerials. That's usually like 105 feet in elevation, and you're stuck in smoke, and you're trying to drive the fire stream down on top of wherever it's hot. Well, you can't see jack whenever you're up on top of those ladders, and you're just getting covered by all this nasty smoke. So my suggestion is, if you haven't done this already, get used to making sure that you know how to pull your QR code off of your phone, right? So you have a mission code that sends you a notification that, hey, there is a drone in operations. That mission code should be shared with PD. That should go to EMS and the emergency managers, right? Because there's a good chance you, as a firefighter, are going to be stuck on top of that aerial tip or down at the base trying to direct master streams. And if your homies on the other side that have the drones, that have the time to be able, like this officer you can see in his vehicle here, has the opportunity to put their drone in the air. All you have to do is walk over to the aerial operator, the guy that's guiding in that truck and that water into the building, and provide that QR code to them. I guarantee every one of these aerial operators, anybody that's driving one of those trucks, is going to have a phone in their pocket. Have them scan it and use that to drive your master stream operations into the fire itself. We're really good at being able to go out and not only do wildfire attack, right? But mitigation, we're going to talk about the attack piece here in a second, but the mitigation piece is huge for us right now. And this is a great way for you to, if you're in an area that can show this as a use case, is show how defendable, how your community has defendable space within it, right? That you have a fire safe community, that you are actually using your drones to be able to fly over properties and to be able and to be able to show that these properties are going to be safe if a wildfire comes to visit you. You can very easily show, and you guys can see, I like this center picture. This is before and after a mitigation process, right? So a prescription service is what we call it in the fire service. We go in and we are able to actually fly over it ahead of time before we send the guys in with the saws, before we go in and burn all the brush off the ground. And we thin out the area, and then we can come back afterwards and show how healthy the forest is, show how safe it is now that you've gone in and you've cleaned out all your small and light fuels. So again, I'm a lot of this is not just to show what you can do for operations, but how you can make money to support your program. The Apple operation itself is captured in this slide. So from the left-hand side, I mean, everybody knows what thermal looks like. It's looking through smoke. But what we're able to do today, working with our manned aviation units, now using DroneSense is key for that. All right, it is imperative because we now have, or I have had, ADS-B plugged into our system. So knowing exactly where those crewed aviation units are coming and going, what their fire traffic area looks like, you can see all of that on your controller. To be able to communicate with the folks that are dropping water, to be able to say, hey, I have found the hot spot, this is your location, and be able to provide them that. That teaming operation is something that we're seeing a lot of growth in the fire service achieving now. So please keep that in mind. If anybody's looking at the upper right-hand side, those are called Dragon Ball eggs. We actually drop those out of that hopper, and it creates a backfire, right? So we're able to back burn an area to create a strip of black, right? So it's safer for our fire operations. We can contain a fire. These guys usually operate at night, and that's why you're seeing this photo during the evening. Disaster responses. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't see the value of this, right? This though, guys, this is all about us working together ahead of time. So if you don't know your neighbors, you're wrong. If you don't have their phone numbers, you're wrong again. If you don't know how to communicate and share your mission codes, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Disaster responses, and we see this all the time on our side, is that the event happens and everybody thinks that they're cool, that they can handle their own backyard and handle what's going on. But when it's your house that just got hit by the tornado, or it's your home that just got wiped out by the hurricane and you got to take care of your family, you're going to be calling in reinforcements. So make sure you know your neighbors. Make sure that you have a plan in place using our shared mission codes, right? And developing these con-ops so you can work together. This is a whole new world for us in the fire service. I say that it's not too new now at this point. But active attacks, right? And us working together as a collective team with our QRS, so the quick reaction forces, or our rescue task forces, our RTFs. You're going to see us pulling bodies out, right? We're going in to drag people out while the LE is going in. Well, that also means that we have opportunity to be overhead, or opportunity while LE is driving down a hallway very quickly, to use our thumbs and be able to send a drone in ahead of them. So this is an area that I also think, we're talking about collaborative operations, guys, we should all be focused on, is how we can better affect our tactical piece as combined as a team. If you haven't looked at this kind of stuff, this is around the corner. We're seeing this happening a lot more. Everybody sees the value on the left-hand side of, being able to watch a fire guy or a rescue guy be able to do a pick off the side of a building, or maybe the SAR picture. But if you're looking at the upper right, this is what FDNY is doing currently alongside of NYPD and the New York Office of Emergency Management. Every year, they do shark patrol. Every year, they're on a beach all summer long, and they are watching for riptides. They're watching for people that are struggling in the water, and they're watching actually for not only the sharks, but it's pretty cool. they're actually watching the food sources, the sharks, the food that the sharks are eating. They'll watch those come into an area, and they'll have to start bringing their people out because they know as soon as the food's coming in, the sharks are coming in, so they pull people out. So again, just looking at this as a way for you to help all of us work together as a team is incredibly valuable. The lower right hand side on the hazmat piece, this is where the federal money is. If you're looking at doing something collectively, if you're looking for federal funding, it's on the hazmat piece. So that would be the train derailments and the guy in the level B suit over here in the lower right. This is a pretty cool picture of a fire that took place in Texas here this last year. This was a really good example of how we can work, not only, I probably should have put this in earlier, as just the fire service, but us working with our partners in addition to, so our public-private partnerships, the industrial guys. So if you have anybody that is running an industrial business in your area, a refinery, a production plant, chances are that they are going to have drones, but they don't know who to work with. This was actually a home run case for us in the Houston, LaPorte area, where one of our folks, a lot of you guys know, his name is David Solo. He's a police, a firefighter, and a medic, all tied up in one. He went out and he ran aerial operations, coordinated aerial operations for this event when this guy ran a truck into a pipeline. We ended up losing only 7 houses, and I say that because we all worked as a team together, and we had the aerial trucks up knocking out fires. We were able to pull everybody back from their exposures and be able to knock this fire down and work with the plant that was coordinating the gas flow into this space. So again, looking at partnerships, this is a great way to move forward. I'd be really curious on our group here if who is working with doing large scale planned events. If you haven't shown up on our Friday calls, this is a really good place to hear about some of our events that have taken place. I think Jason Burnside was sharing ACL last working group on Friday. He was talking about the Austin city limits. We just wrapped up 2 weeks back to back of this page over here on the left-hand side of our screen. We have the ability to bring in what's called a GeoTIFF or a GeoPDF. That just means that we can go out and take all these images, put them all together, and create a map, and then drop that map into the DroneSense interface that you can fly off, or bring in a pre-planned map and drop that into the interface and operate off of that. A lot of you guys probably already know that already, but if you haven't worked with that, you ought to get with Ramon, David, or I and ask us like, hey, how could I trial that? How could I use it? Because you are going to have a Christmas parade or a holiday parade coming up right around the corner. That is happening. We all have sporting events that are taking place, right? So if you haven't used that feature, get a hold of us and allow us to help you out and get you on a trial so you guys can start practicing with this or playing with this, because it's really cool when you can bring in your own maps onto your screens or onto your phones and allow your people to operate off an operations map that is relevant to your event that's happening. All right, so let's talk about specifically on the thermal side, right? I said this was going to be fire service related. Pallets. You have a couple ways to get to pallets, guys. In the upper right-hand side above the on your screen, right next to your initials, you are going to see what looks like a little thermometer, right? And that if you click on that, that is going to allow you to get to pallets. The same way that if you go over on your right-hand side of your screen, look at my far right slide here, or far right side of the picture on the slide, you'll also see the pallet settings over on your right-hand side. So this is how you're able to get to your pallets within our app. Now, we do have, depending on the aircraft you're flying, we do have some different capabilities within our systems for pictures in pictures. And if you're flying a Parrot, the interface looks just a little bit different, but for the most part, everything that we have in DroneSense, this user interface is going to look the same. So it doesn't matter if you're flying a Parrot, a Autel, a DJI, or anything else that we're bringing into our mix, this is where you should be able to find all of your palette settings. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on that? We're going to talk about ISOs here in just a second and why that's important for you. I just want to see if maybe you had any questions on that. On the fire side, go through your palettes when you guys are going out and experimenting with this. You can see on my two pictures on my right-hand side, one has red hot and one has white hot. That red hot is actually kind of cool. If you haven't used that, when you're using the red hot and you're flying over an area, that does give you a little more sensitivity for the areas that are hotter than others. It also works really well if you're going out and looking at a parking lot to try to figure out which engine block has just been run, right? So be looking at our palettes and practice with those. These are a couple areas I'm hoping maybe you've played with, but if you go into your ISO settings and you turn them on, you can come in and you can do a hot box, right, or the thermal box where you can actually see the relative differences in heat, or you can actually go to your sensor point and be able to use that to determine what an area is looking at. So if you look over my right hand side, I've got a rock that I'm looking at, not hot at all, right? So that sensor point is pretty great. Is it going to be accurate? Is it going to give you the exact heat? No way. No way. But it will give you differences in heat that you're looking for. So if you're looking for something that was hot or is not as hot as something else is, this is a really great tool for you guys to practice with. When we're speaking about isotherms as a whole, hey, Ramon, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of touch back on a couple of things. We had Mike ask about the trials. Going back to getting those orthomosaics, pulling in maps into those different events that you have, please reach out to us for those. There's been a number of questions also about thermal parameters, contrast, and brightness, and how we adjust that, as well as those thermal palettes and how and then how close up settings
Anything
we
off the
can get.
top of your head? Maybe these let me get through isotherms real quick,
Yeah,
and then let's answer some of those questions if you don't mind reading them to me, because I only have my one screen up.
no worries.
Thank you, Bubba. And thanks, guys, for the questions. So isotherms, guys, I'm going to go back here. You'll see over on this screen here, it does say ISO. So if I turn on my isotherms, this is going to allow me to do a few different things that I think will be helpful for you. One is it allows you to be able to adjust temperature ranges that you may be looking for. Okay, so if I turn on my isotherms, I have the ability to adjust my thermal ranges to be able to grab my eye or grab my attention whenever I am doing a sweep of some area. So as you can see here, these ranges, if I'm looking at the person setting here, right? My temperature range is between 79 and 100. So anything in between that area is going to light off, is going to illuminate to grab my attention. So that's what we're seeing over on that left-hand side. If I'm running this range between 149 and 752, which is over on my right-hand picture, you're seeing that there's nothing in this picture that's going to grab your eye. There's nothing in that picture that is that hot. So that is a way for you to quickly just go into a preset mode and adjust that. The next thing we're going to talk about, and this is what I'm going to open the mic up because I think this is important for us to talk about, is the actual gains themselves. Right? Is being able to coordinate the thermal gains to what you need. There's a lot of confusion on this piece. I'm hoping to maybe clarify a little bit of this with this presentation. But if you're looking at the right hand side of your screen, just underneath your camera settings here, if you click on that where I showed you, you'll find your palettes. You'll see that there is an area that says thermal gains. Now this gets a little bit confusing. I understand this, but this is going to be important for you. If you turn up your gain, right, it's making it more sensitive, right? I'm going to turn up my gain. So this measurement is used for looking for lower temperatures. So I'm going to turn up my gain. I'm going to turn up my sensitivity. Probably what it should be called. I'm going to turn up my sensitivity so I can find objects that have lower temperatures. If I am looking for things that have higher temperatures, right? And I want my camera to kind of wash out all of the extra noise that is there. I'm going to go for a lower gain. Let me explain why that's important for us as on a roof of a fire, right? Or perhaps over a wildfire, but specifically over a structure fire. If you're over a structure that is burning, what you want to do is make sure that when you go to your thermal settings, that you go to a structure fire and you change it to a low gain. What is going to happen is the sensitivity of your camera is going to change, and it is going to allow you to look down at the fire that you're looking at, and it is going to kind of wash out a lot of the extra noise that you have, right? The small embers that are burning, or the maybe just small combustible, like the small combustibles that may be on a roof, and actually looking for the areas of deep-seated fire, the higher temperatures. So you're going to wipe out all that extra noise that you have, and you're only going to be looking for the higher temperatures. So again, go to low gain if you're looking over a roof and you're watching your guys walk around on top of a roof, or you're trying to drive in master stream operations, and switch it over to low gain so you can really pinpoint those areas that have a high concentration of heat. Hope that's making sense. I see a few areas of chat that came up. Ramon, you want to read those to me real quick? Or if you've been going through them, I just pulled them up here myself.
There we go. Finally jumped off of the tripwire. Yeah, I think you addressed a lot of that. The thermal palette settings, and again, going from high to low gain, that was one of the big issues as far as brightness within the color palettes. I know we talked a little bit about this at a get-together yesterday. When we go through these palettes, we're using white hot, black hot, any of these pieces, understand that those are very good for, again, when you have a big temperature difference between your subject and the surrounding areas, especially if you're on a fire. If you're looking for individuals, those work well in those wooded areas as well. If you are on water, Coit brought this up, and it's a very good point to keep in mind. When you go to Iron Bow, it gives you more of an influx of information. If you can see that head bobbing in the water, that will come up a little bit more in the Iron Bow color palette. So keep those little tricks and tips in your back pocket for later. Ross brought up information about the M4. M4T is awaiting an SDK update. Once we get that, you'll start to see more of that fluid switching between zooms on that one. Okay. Other than that,
hey Ross, does that answer your question that it's around the corner? Like our developers are working on that.
Yeah, I knew it was something. There's something there, so I assumed it was either me or something that was being worked on.
Yeah, our developers, we kind of ran into a jam, so we did all this work to get another drone into our system, the Parrots into our system, and it kind of pushed off to our development team, time for our development team on the 4Ts or the 4 series. So our developers are rapidly moving forward with that now that they've had some time to put some focus into it. So expect some good things happening with that drone.
Awesome,
guys. You bet, man. Hey, any other questions, guys, on ISOs? Again, just go open mic. Let's just talk. Is this making sense to you?
So the higher thermal gain is for looking for hotter things, and the lower thermal gain is for looking for cooler things. Rather than. So that's
yep. Flip it just the opposite. Just flip it around. Just the opposite. So when you're saying high gain, think about high sensitivity. All right. Just think it like that. All right. Highly sensitive. I'm going to be picking up all the low temperatures, because I got a lot of sensitivity there. It's high sensitivity. I'm picking up low temperatures. If I'm in, so just reverse your thought process. And I know I get stuck on this as well. I'm thinking low sensitivity. I'm grabbing all of the at low sensitivity. I'm all my higher temps are going to pop out at me, right? Because it's so if you're going over a roof and you're looking for an area to drive that master stream operations, the master stream into, or you're looking for an area for your guys to vent, you are going to be looking for the high temperatures, because that's where you need to drive either the water in or let the pressure out of the roof line. You're going to be using your low gain for that.
Okay, so it's very similar to the contrast brightness together in the manual. That makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Hey, LT Bridge Farmer, good to see you, man. What did you have?
No, y'all are covering it great. So one thing, if anybody gets a chance to really understand how to see that high versus low gain in these fire settings, under that high gain that most of us are always, or are, see, I want to get my coin upside down again. Under what we normally operate under, for people searches, right? If you look at a fire that fire just is all completely washed out. If you switch that gain over to the other setting, you'll be able to see those variances in temperature throughout that fire or impacted area. However, if you use that gain setting that gives you that ultra definition across those super hot temperature ranges of a fire impacted area, and you're using it for a suspect search, in a pretty blah environment, you're not going to have the definition you need to pick out those refined details of a person. So I'll stop there, but y'all are doing great.
Yeah, thank you for that, Matt. Well, I'm gonna throw some love. I try to do this with every chance I get with LT and his gang here. So Lieutenant Bridge Farmer he has a process that he uses when using thermals, which I think is really awesome. John, I'll get right back with you. And that is when he's doing SAR operations, right? When he's out looking for folks, he does remote viewer. So like a remote, I don't know if he's coined a name for it. Matt, if you have, I'd love to hear it, but it's a remote viewer operation. So when his wardens are out looking for suspects or objects, he's actually back home with DroneSense up and catching the different thermal indications or different thermal objects that he's seeing that his pilot may have missed. Matt, am I representing that right? Am I saying that correctly for you? Because I think this is good for all of our guys here.
Yeah, you're covering it good. I mean, essentially just the task saturation that pilot is dealing with on scene, flying the aircraft and whatever else is happening, largely being center camera focused of that image while they're airborne, having somebody leveraging the live video stream, not on scene, to study the full picture. And drop markers on the map, and feed that back to the pilot for later follow-up is essentially what we're doing. Working good.
Guys, I'm telling you, what they're doing with that. I mean, Matt's made some remotely. He's found a few objects that he's had to report back to his wardens, and they've been able to see what he's been looking at remotely. They've had some good finds with him doing this remotely. So again, if you're at home and you're able, or you're in the office and your team's out working, you still got a place by sitting at the computer and being able to catch things that your pilot, as he mentioned, that is task saturated, may not be able to catch. Thank you for that. Adam, you have a policy write-up on that procedure. I'd be interested in implementing it. Adam, what specifically are you referring to? If you're able to speak, brother. All right, John, go with your traffic, man. What you got?
Yeah, quick question. I think this is kind of similar to what we're talking about here, as far as fire. And in a sense, though, in North Carolina, especially eastern North Carolina, we have temperatures during the summer upwards to 100 plus. So if we have an individual that runs into some kind of crop in a rural area, what we tend to have is that the individual blends in pretty well with the surrounding crop,
Yeah.
maybe corn, tobacco, whatever it may be. Is something like this where we can change the game would help us identify the person in that sense. Because usually if they're in a side of a crop like tobacco or something like that, they're usually shielded from the normal video, daytime camera.
Yes, that is correct. It's still limited in what you can do, right? And that's where we say use all the tools. Is if you've got an actual light on your camera and you're able to look at things through your EO, that optical lens, that catching colors and shapes while you have a light on them is oftentimes a lot easier. But yes, that is where this gains can help you out. So if you're high gain, you're looking for those lower temperatures or reversing it. But there is a point, man, where everybody it blends in. It is hard to distinguish, but that is what this is able to help you do. Absolutely. Good call out, man. Good call out. Anything else on this, guys, on the gains? All right. North Carolina. This is John, were you down here by chance? Did you come down to Asheville?
I did. I was actually north of that area, working up that way. I did not make it to Asheville.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had been able to high five in the past. So, guys, I love this picture in the lower right. That is all of us working together as a team, right? That is all of us showing up and flying between 700 and 800 flights. That's over us mapping over 28 miles of riverfront. That is us trying to work together to coordinate our group together. This just recently happened. I don't have the slide up, but this recently happened here in Central Texas, where Lieutenant Bridge Farmer was in charge of pulling the state together and doing just this for our hill country that had gotten hit. And this is something that every time we go out, we learn different things. We're reminded of things that we need to share with other people. And what I'd like to share with you guys today is the power of the marker, right? So when we went out and we were operating in all this area, this 28 miles of riverfront, we were using the markers, our marking system, to be able to designate where at first, when we're in rescue mode, you guys know you're in rescue mode. You got boat teams that are out operating. You got ground teams that are out running around. You got helos that are out running around. The only thing our drones are really good at doing is finding targets, and we can do that really well. The catch is you want to be able to designate where those targets are at. So your ground, your boat, and your helo resources are able to go back and pick them off and find them and pick them off, right? When we're transitioned to recovery mode, right? When we're going to recovery mode, these markers are still just as valuable. They each have a timestamp that's embedded in them. So if you guys haven't messed with this, go into Ops Hub and look at your timestamps on these markers, and you will see who dropped them, when they dropped them, right? And you will and you also have coordinates built into this. So the way we ran this program is those of us that were back at the operations center there at the Asheville PD, when we had eyes on something, or when the pilots found something, a marker was dropped onto that area. Now you can see at day one, you've got, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 of these things up on markers that are listed out. By the end of 2 weeks, our marker page was ridiculous. But that was really great because on the recovery side, we were then able to send in the rest of the troops that were coming in for recovery to not only see if there were human remains, right, the HR, or if we had a hit on something that we might need our search teams to come back and pull through, but for the recovery team. So if we had, and you'll see in here, we had a ton of propane tanks that we need to pull out. We had a ton of vehicles that were in areas that you might not see right away, and we needed command to know where they were at, either to do a search or to pull the debris out of the the area. So those markers were incredibly valuable. And I just say, if you aren't practicing with them right now, you're wrong. You can, everybody on this call, if you have DroneSense, can use your phone to drop a marker. You don't need to have MSAT, although we'd love for you to have it because it brings all other kinds of values to it. But using your markers on your phones or on your drones to be able to communicate and prevent radio traffic tying up the radios is incredibly important. See the chat here. Anything that's worth noting on my end? I see you guys talking with Matt. It's good. Yeah, Ross, I'm glad you nailed that with Matt on the remote viewer. Okay, nothing for me. Oh, okay. Ross says, I would just like to say, adding to the marker side, MSAT is an amazing when the K9 guys are in the brush to be able to track. So yeah, absolutely, guys. If you, like I said, you don't have to have MSAT to drop markers, but if you have mobile streaming and tracking, this is where you can drop this into your dog's harness or you as a handler, and we can be able to see exactly where you're at all times.